2023's Priscilla, directed by Sofia Copolla, tells the tragic and complicated story of Priscilla Presley and her tumultuous marriage to musician Elvis Presley, based off of her 1985 memoir, Elvis and Me. The film follows Priscilla's life from when she was 14 when she met Elvis up until she was 27 when the two divorced. In that time period, we see her completely transform from a teenager into the wife of one of the biggest stars on the planet. Or more accurately, that she became the wife of one of the biggest stars on the planet when she was a teenager. With Elvis Presley cited as one of the pillars of rock and roll, you'd think this film would be a raucous retelling of an ill-fated relationship laced with sequins, music, and of course, drugs, similar to the other Elvis movie that came out in 2023.
He's white?
However, one of the most intriguing elements of Priscilla is just how quiet it is. Priscilla's life as depicted in the film contains many moments of solitude and silence, depicting that her existence and identity was consumed by the star that was Elvis Presley, whether he was physically present or not. One of the biggest indicators of what is happening with Priscilla on the inside is how she presents on the outside. Head of the hair department, Cleona Fury, costume designer Stacey Batat, and head of the makeup department, Joanne McNeil, aided by their teams, worked together to depict the 13-year transformation of Priscilla Beaulieu into Priscilla Presley. And Sofia Coppola's Priscilla, when words fail or are stifled, hair, makeup, and costuming speak. Hi, I'm Bobby. This is Culture Kitsch, and today we're taking a look at how hair, makeup, and costuming guide the story of 2023's Priscilla. We open the film and we are immediately dropped into perhaps one of the most important shots, as it depicts what was made to define Priscilla in this time of her life, which was her look. Her perfectly manicured hands and feet, her signature eyeliner with big hair, and her beautiful outfits adorn a room with fluffy pink carpet. This is who she would eventually become, but before we can get into Priscilla Presley, we must first go back in time to 1959 and meet Priscilla Beaulieu. Priscilla is in the 9th grade and living with her family in West Germany, where her father was stationed during the war. We first see her drinking a milkshake and reading a magazine at a diner counter, the ideal image of a teenager in the 1950s, when she's approached by an army officer who asks if she wants to meet Elvis Presley, the dream scenario of any teenage girl around this time. In this scene, Priscilla's hair is her natural chestnut brown that is a little bit past her shoulders that she has in a high ponytail with wispy bangs. She wears a dusty pink cardigan, buttoned up to the top, with a plaid skirt and a bare face. These styling choices work beautifully with the lighting and framing choices of this scene, which feature Priscilla with the light of the diner window shining behind her, which creates kind of a halo effect around her. All of these choices affirm one very important thing. She is undeniably 14 years old, just a babe. She's a kid, very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. The scene also highlights the initial thrill to Priscilla of being approached to meet a huge celebrity because everything is bright and warm, which comes in contrast to the scene a few minutes later when she's at the diner with her family, where the color palette is a little bit bleaker and gray. A sign that she's feeling a little bit discontented with life in the way that most teens do, made even more exacerbated by being away from home. She gets the permission of her parents to go to the party and meet Elvis, and now she must task herself with wearing something that will surely woo Elvis at this event. For the party, she wears a baby blue dress with a bow on the bust and A-line skirt. Her hair is in a low ponytail and she is wearing makeup, which is a big change from the previous scene, though it is still relatively subdued, with her only wearing mascara, lipstick, and a little bit of blush. It's very, I'm going to homecoming and my mom's letting me wear makeup for the first time. This would also unknowingly establish a precedent within their relationship, which is that Elvis would never see Priscilla without makeup on. Priscilla's nervousness is palpable as she looks up to Elvis, who appears to be this larger than life figure that is made all the more physically obvious by the fact that a 6'5" Jacob Elordi playing Elvis looms over a 5'1" Kaylee Spaney. She and Elvis strike up a conversation, which includes him learning that she's in the 9th grade, to which he remarks,
9th grade. You're just a baby.
Those keeping score at home, he is 22 and she is still 14. Elvis immediately invites Priscilla to another party that they're having, and it's at this party that he immediately fast tracks to pursuing her romantically. Up until this point, their dynamic has really given fan who wins a contest to meet their favorite singer, with him asking what the kids back at home are listening to and if she wants to be alone with him. The type of thing you'd find in the most salacious of AO3 fanfics. He also tells her that he likes talking to her, and the film makes it very obvious that he is guiding and taking control over the vast majority of their conversations. Like, she's maybe said 30 words total across the two parties. The most important thing to note about this night, again, mind you, the second time that they're meeting, is that Elvis kisses Priscilla, and now they are going steady. The two begin to spend more and more time together, to the point that Elvis goes to meet Priscilla's parents, and when Priscilla's father asks Elvis why he's interested in his daughter, he says she's much more mature than her age. Remember, she has consistently looked like this since they've met. Their courtship continues. Priscilla and Elvis are getting closer and closer, but before their budding relationship can truly take off, Elvis is honorably discharged from the army, and he goes back to the US to, be Elvis. This is also where we see one of the first times that the film borrows from a real life outfit that Priscilla wore, with her outfit in the airport send-off scene matching the one that she wore in real life. She's wearing a brown coat with a plaid A-line dress underneath, with her hair wrapped in a scarf, and you can see that they're pretty much identical to each other. It's also worth noting that a lot of these dresses were basically two pieces, so that they can interchange a lot of the pieces throughout the film and have them be worn at different points in Priscilla's life. She and Elvis arrive to the airstrip together, and once she gets out of the car, she immediately disappears into the crowd of screaming teenage fans. This shot is so interesting because it makes you question what really separates Priscilla from this horde of screaming fans that would sell their family down the river if they knew they had a shot with Elvis like she does. It makes you question the power dynamics of a 22-year-old star plucking a 14-year-old fan out of obscurity and making her become his secret partner. And this is one of the first times, but certainly wouldn't be the last, that Priscilla realizes that fame will always be a secret mistress in their relationship. When someone like Elvis has the love of the world at his disposal, how will or how could the love of Priscilla or her devotion or her subservience ever measure up? And the answer to that is that it won't, which is essentially the thesis of this film. Nothing will ever be enough. We've now made it into the 60s, and Elvis has arranged for Priscilla to come and stay with him for a little bit in Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. Priscilla is 17 now, and she arrives at Graceland in a baby pink dress with white pumps, an upgrade from her saddle shoes that we see her with in the beginning, with her hair down and slightly curled. A lot of the women in this new environment are obviously older, so they dress in more form-fitting dresses or even pants to some degree, and wear their hair in sophisticated updos or bouffants. And Priscilla looks like a child about to deliver her Easter speech at church, to the point where one of the women in the house remarks, "She looks like a little girl." And the same goes for her hair. Hairstylist Cleona Fury says that the wig that she wears when she first meets Elvis is the same wig that was used in this scene. And it kind of signifies that Priscilla is trying to appear more grown up, but she's working with obviously a very limited arsenal of materials to do so. With Fury saying, quote, "She was this little girl, right? We tried to show that in her storyline, so I used the same wig, but I put a roller set in it and poofed it up." So Priscilla is absolutely a fish out of water, but it won't be long before she is made over to fit into this new world that Elvis is introducing her to. One of the biggest turns and foreshadowing of both where Priscilla as a character is going and just in general where the movie is going is when Elvis and Priscilla take a 2-day trip to Las Vegas. It kind of gives a crash course in how their relationship will be for the next 5 to 6 years. In this scene, she wears two looks: a form-fitting asymmetrical baby blue dress with a silk bow on the shoulder with her hair in a ponytail updo, and the second look is a 2-piece polka dot skirt set with her hair down and tousled, donning glasses in tandem with Elvis. This baby blue dress is almost the grown-up version of the dress that she wears when she meets Elvis for the very first time. It's got a more form-fitting fitting grown woman cut with her hair in a more sophisticated updo than the kind of like side ponytail that she wore when they first met. The assumption during this scene is that this was one of the first times that Elvis styled Priscilla to fit his desires, with costume designer Stacey Batat saying, "There was originally in the script a scene where Elvis took her shopping in Vegas to get her appropriate clothes for Vegas, but it got cut for whatever reason, budgetary more likely than anything else. But it was always in our minds that Elvis did take her shopping, and when she leaves Vegas, she wears this polka dot two-piece outfit that bears her midriff. I had seen a photo like that in Vogue or something from that time. That was a pretty great moment, kind of like she's almost a woman, but she's still in her girlish silhouette." This is also one of the first times that we see her wearing more makeup, and makeup that looks closer to the makeup that she would have for the majority of their relationship. She's also wearing eyeliner and blue eyeshadow, which would become essentially load-bearing makeup products in her routine for the foreseeable future. Also, the choice of blue eyeshadow was a nod to Elvis's 1956 hit Blue Suede Shoes. Blue will become a very important color throughout the style journey of this film. Priscilla was getting a taste of what this life could be, getting all dolled up to be on the arm of one of the music world's rising stars. That's a life that she could get used to. However, she eventually goes back to Germany to be with her family, where she begs her parents to allow her to finish out school in the US with Elvis. They eventually concede and allow her to live with Elvis and have Elvis's father, Vernon, be her guardian, though he's really a guardian kind of only in name. Though when she arrives back at Graceland, her grand return isn't exactly what she thought it would be. Through a sequence of very quiet, almost still frames, Priscilla explores the house that would become her gilded cage for the next couple of years. The house is full of people, but it's people who work for Elvis, family included. People employed to keep up the persona and life of Elvis. And she doesn't know it yet, but that is a payroll that she has just now joined. She quickly learns that life in Graceland, and in turn life as Elvis's secret partner, comes with a lot of restrictions. If she makes friends at school, she's not allowed to have them over because no one unauthorized can be in Graceland. She can't have a job because Elvis doesn't want her distracted from him, essentially, when he is at home. And she can't even play in the front lawn with the puppy that Elvis left behind for her because she can't make a spectacle of herself in front of the fans that camp out at the gates of Graceland. Every move she makes is in service to the image of this man and his career. Like Ken and Barbie's job is just beach, Priscilla's job is just Elvis. That is her task. That is why she's there. It's just her, the puppy, her manicured nails, and that big old house. Elvis eventually returns, and flanked by his closest group of friends called the Memphis Mafia, they decide to give Priscilla a grand makeover. A permanent one this time. Save for the Vegas trip, we really haven't seen Elvis's direct tailoring of Priscilla's look to his likes and wants and desires. We've only seen her tailoring her look to what she thinks he'll like with what she already has. This is Elvis directly customizing her outward appearance to his desires, down to what color she can wear, like him saying that blue is her color and that she may never wear brown as it reminds him of the war, or even just like having a weird thing about prints and patterns. So you'll see as the film progresses, she's mainly in a lot of like solid baby blue dresses and gowns and things like that. But perhaps one of the most drastic parts of this makeover is when Elvis walks up to her, contemplating and studying her face, and simply says,
"Black hair and more eye makeup will make your eyes stand out more."
We cut to a scene where we see manicured hands tease, brush, and roll Priscilla's newly dyed hair, and with one turn of the chair, we see the new Priscilla, now sporting larger-than-life black hair and heavy eyeliner. Priscilla Beaulieu is gone. Priscilla Presley awaits. Priscilla's dyed hair and makeup, in addition to her status as Elvis's girl, well, at least his girl in this state, further ostracizes her when she goes to school. Her hair being jet black and growing in size with every beehive and bouffant that she wears, she looks very different from her classmates, who already see her in an interesting social light, as the rumors of her being Elvis's secret girlfriend follow her like the scent trail of her Chanel number 5. The film doesn't neglect to depict that when Elvis was at home and present and mostly sober, that there were some pretty fun and enjoyable times. However, it can't be ignored that whether things were good or not were not solely within Priscilla's control. It was all dependent on how Elvis was feeling that day. She is trying to be the perfect partner around this time. She brings him his meals after she gets off of school. She matches her outfits to the guns that he insists on buying her. She follows the rigid style Bible that he has set forth for her. And when she even tries to veer out a little bit to express some sense of individuality, but still is keeping up the appearance that he likes, he immediately tears her down. And we see that mainly in this scene where she's wearing this printed dress that has a lot of pinks and blacks and oranges in it, which is not really in the color palette that he likes her in. And she expresses, rightfully so, frustration at it not being enough for him.
That doesn't suit you, baby.
Saturn, you're a small girl. You gotta keep away from the prince, baby.
Okay, I'll return the fucking dress.
Priscilla finally graduates high school, a crazy ass sentence in the context of what her life has been up until this point. And she can now dedicate herself full time to being with Elvis. There is some level of excitement within their dynamic because now that Priscilla is out of school, assumingly she can spend more time with Elvis, and this can allow their relationship to mature more and more. Their relationship is set against the backdrop of a growing substance abuse problem and guns, which just kind of creates a sense of danger at all times within their dynamic. No amount of black dye, eyeliner, or a blue dress is going to keep his ramping erratic behavior at bay. One of the most interesting elements of this film is that we get multiple scenes of Priscilla just kind of walking around Graceland fully dolled up as if she's being watched at all times. She's probably walked every inch of that house in those pumps, and it's simply because that's what she's there to do. She's a doll in a doll house. During this time, we do see that Priscilla does have sparks of autonomy, though fleeting, that are signaled when she wears prints. Remember, prints are not something that Elvis liked on her because they reminded him of the war. And to that I say, therapy, mama. Like when Priscilla goes to LA and confronts Elvis over his affair with Anne Margaret, Stacey Batat says, there's a big bold print when she goes to Los Angeles. She's like, you're having an affair with Margaret and I'm coming anyway. And he tells her not to come. She shows up in a bold print because she was being bold. That was a reaction to him. She was mad at him. She was like, I'm going to do this even though you say no. I'm going to come to Los Angeles even though you don't want me to. She's maturing. She's realizing the truth of this dynamic. Perhaps the sheen of this dream relationship is starting to wear off. A major art imitating life moment is when Elvis and Priscilla get married in 1967. In real life, Priscilla's wedding garb has been immortalized as one of the most iconic bridal looks of all time, though it is unassumingly pretty simple. She was dressed in an off-the-rack white gown from Neiman Marcus that was made all the more iconic by her floor-length veil that was held on by a blinged-out tiara. For the film, Priscilla's wedding dress was recreated by Chanel, accompanied by her long and silk-coiffed hair and eyeliner. Not too long after, Priscilla finds out that she's pregnant, and even throughout her pregnancy, she still maintains the aesthetic, like weighing herself regularly while she's growing a human, and even applying falsies after her water has broken before heading to the hospital. And perhaps it's just out of muscle memory at this point because it's been years of their relationship where she's used to doing all of these things to keep up her outward appearance for Elvis. But you can sense a growing air of ambivalence to Elvis's up and down behavior.
I think it'll be best if we took a little break.
You've got it. Just tell me when to leave.
Oh, wait, baby. I don't mean it, so don't leave.
It's up and it's down. She's simply grown too used to that behavior from him. Coaxed in this ambivalence is a stirring sense of needing to find and retain autonomy in her life. There's a small hint of this mounting feeling in this scene, where Priscilla is reading the newspaper and there's a small headline that says individuality keynote style that she focuses on, before flipping over to see the front page brandishing her husband cheating on her with Nancy Sinatra. As we swing out of the 60s and into the 70s, things have drastically changed for Elvis and Priscilla. Elvis is on tour experiencing a late stage career upturn, and Priscilla is raising their daughter, Lisa Marie. And the two are essentially living completely separate lives. And we know that this change has happened because Priscilla looks totally different from the last times that we saw her. She's back to wearing her chestnut brown hair, assumingly she stopped dyeing it as she and Elvis have grown apart. Her makeup is much lighter, though she does retain a little bit of her signature look with a much softer winged eyeliner. Makeup artist Joanne McNeil says, quote, "In the early 70s, as her relationship with Elvis breaks down, so does her makeup. She stripped it back and became more natural looking, finding her independence through her look. She's wearing prints, she's wearing pants, she's wearing colors that were once seemingly strictly forbidden, like purple and black. She's got her natural hair and a much more natural makeup look, but it's not the barefaced look of a teen, but instead the natural makeup look of a woman." The 70s is the end of their relationship in every aspect, and Priscilla's look reflects that. Priscilla has taken back her agency, she's taken back her style, and most importantly, she has taken back her life. One of the earliest style decisions made for the film was the fact that Priscilla was going to leave Elvis with pants on. Pants being the big signifier that she was a woman of her own making at that point. It is one of the ultimate signs of independence because pants weren't something that she was really allowed to wear in the duration of their relationship. Priscilla divorces Elvis and, set to Dolly Parton's "I Will Always Love You," she leaves him, Graceland, and the 7 years of her life that weren't hers behind. And she does it with a pair of bell-bottom pants on.